right, DD India's correspondent Akshay Dongare joins us with more on this. Akshay, good morning. Tell us how could this pan out? We tell our viewers that US President Donald Trump has said that US could keep the oil and also the seized ships. How could that pan out and what would it mean for the region?
Well, seems like a disaster for the region, especially given the fact that US is now acting like a bully as far as the region is concerned. And while the earlier sort of aggressions of the United States used to usually happen in the West Asian region when it comes to countries such as Libya, Iraq, Iran, or other nations, but now it's happening right under the nose of the US, with Venezuela being threatened time and again by the new US administration that is under the Trump government. So what we are seeing is not only an illegal action but also justification of the action, stating that the oil that Venezuela is selling, that its own personal oil, is being used for drug trade. So and you that just justification, that seems like a justification for the seizing of the oil tankers. We all know that while US is one of the largest producer of oil in the world when it comes to petroleum and other sort of shale gas reserve that it has, Venezuela is the largest is the country with the largest amount of proven crude oil deposits. So there is a lot of potential there in Venezuela as far as oil is concerned, as far as other crude fossil fuels are concerned. And it seems that Trump administration is trying to it tried to change the Maduro regime there. It failed in doing that, and now it is directly threatening the trade that Venezuela does with other nations. And one of the most prominent nation that it does business with is China. And one of the oil tankers that the Trump administration has seized earlier is one that was taking the oil, or rather selling oil to Chinese companies. So that can erupt into larger geopolitical tensions in the region. However, since Cuban crisis has ended for the U.S. as far as its neighborhood is concerned. Now Venezuela has become another, a flashpoint as far as the sort of threats are concerned from the U.S. So if you ask the question that what may how may this situation pan out, it may pan out into involving other larger players into sort of this tension that is going on. In a way, it's a conflict. The Venezuelan government can go to the International Court of Justice to take the Trump administration there, as far as the capturing of these oil tankers are concerned, because a third oil tanker is also being chased by the U.S. Security forces as far as the Maduro government is concerned. So the tensions are quite high as far as the Latin American region is concerned. And now what we are seeing is U.S. not even trying to hide the sort of aggressions that it is going ahead with, being a much larger country, much larger military power. It is actually acting like a bully.
All right, Akshay, it is acting like a bully, but then what options does Venezuela have in hand at present? And do we know anything about any response coming in from Venezuela on this?
Well, Venezuela, yes, absolutely. It has been responding to all of these allegations, all of these sort of actions by the US, calling them sort of terrorizing actions, calling them illegal actions. And it can go to International Court of Justice. It can sort of gather its own allies. It can go to multilateral forums, but the options are limited. You are a much smaller country, much weaker economy, much weaker military power, under a superpower, and you are in sort of conflict with that superpower. So all you can do right now is gather your allies, gather countries that you do trade with, such as China, other nations, diversify your trade, challenge the action that is being taken by Trump administration onto in international forums. So that is the max you can do right now. Because as far as military hardware, military power is concerned, Venezuela stands nowhere when it comes to the U.S. might.
All right, Akshay, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for joining in with those updates.